The final warning. General Josh Taylor stood at the command center's viewport, his weathered face reflecting in the reinforced glass as he gazed at Earth's orbital defense network. The massive array of satellites and defense platforms hung like a web of steel sentinels against the backdrop of stars, a testament to humanity's determination to survive. Behind him, the low hum of quantum computers and tactical displays filled the air with an electric tension. General, Commander Sarah Bishop's voice cut through his thoughts. The Galactic Council's fleet has just emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. Taylor turned, his steel-gray eyes meeting Bishop's concerned gaze. She had been his second-in-command for 15 years, through countless diplomatic missions and conflicts. Now, as they faced humanity's greatest threat, her presence was more valuable than ever. "Show me," he ordered, moving to the central holographic display. The massive screen flickered to life, revealing thousands of ships materializing against the void. The Council's fleet was even larger than their intelligence had suggested, a vast armada of sleek warships and battle cruisers, led by the infamous Relentless, Varick's flagship. The massive vessel resembled a crescent moon made of dark steel and plasma cannons, its hull adorned with the battle scars of countless victories. "They're maintaining formation at the belt's edge," Bishop reported, her fingers dancing across the tactical display. "Energy signatures suggest their weapons are powered but not yet charged." Taylor nodded, his jaw set firmly. "They're waiting for Varick to make his grand entrance." He always did have a flair for the dramatic. As if on cue, the communication system chimed. "Incoming transmission from the Relentless, sir." "Put it through." The holographic display shifted, and Varick's imposing figure materialized before them. The alien warlord stood nearly 8 feet tall, his scaled skin a deep purple-black that seemed to absorb light. 4 red eyes, arranged in a diamond pattern, fixed upon Taylor with predatory intensity. "General Taylor," Varick's voice rumbled through the speakers, the translation matrix struggling to convey the full depth of his contempt. "I see you've decorated your orbit with toys. How quaint." Taylor met the alien's gaze steadily. "Those toys are more than capable of defending Earth, Varick. You'd be wise not to test them." A sound like grinding metal emerged from Varick's throat, his species equivalent of laughter. "Defend? With what? Your primitive kinetic weapons. Your laughable energy shields." He leaned closer to the camera. "The Council has watched your species for centuries, Taylor. We know exactly what you're capable of, and more importantly, what you're not. Do you?" Taylor's voice remained calm, but there was an edge to it that made several bridge officers glance up from their stations. "Then you should know that humanity has survived every threat we've faced. We've adapted, evolved, and overcome obstacles that should have destroyed us. We don't want war, Varick, but if you force our hand, you'll learn exactly what we're capable of." Varick's upper eyes narrowed. Bold words from a species that barely managed space travel a century ago. "The Council has grown tired of your posturing, Taylor. Your planet holds resources we need, and your strategic position in this sector is too valuable to leave in such primitive hands. This is your final warning," Taylor stated firmly. "Turn your fleet around. Earth is not yours to take." "Warning." Varick's scales rippled with amusement. "You dare threaten the might of the Galactic Council? Perhaps I should demonstrate why such arrogance is misplaced." He gestured to someone off-screen. "Target their outermost defense satellite. Let's see how well these toys perform." Before Taylor could respond, a brilliant beam of energy lanced out from one of the Council's forward ships, striking the designated satellite. The beam splashed harmlessly against an invisible barrier, dissipating into space. Varick's amusement faltered slightly. "Interesting. It seems you've developed some rudimentary shielding technology. No matter. We have brought enough firepower to reduce your entire planet to ash." "That was our warning shot," Taylor replied, his voice deadly serious. "The next one won't be nearly as gentle." I'm giving you one last chance, Varric. Withdraw your fleet. Or what, human? Varric snarled. You'll defend yourself with more parlor tricks. The Council has decreed that Earth will submit or be destroyed. Those are your only options. Taylor's expression hardened. There's a third option, Varric. One you haven't considered because your arrogance blinds you to the truth. We've been preparing for this day for decades. Everything you think you know about Earth's defenses is wrong. We shall see, Varric growled. You have 1 hour to surrender unconditionally. After that, we will take what we want by force. The transmission cut off abruptly. Commander Bishop stepped closer to Taylor, keeping her voice low. Sir, should we begin evacuation protocols for the civilian population? Taylor shook his head. No. If we show any sign of weakness now, Varric will strike immediately. Besides, he allowed himself a grim smile, our underground shelters can protect the population better than any evacuation. He turned to address the command center staff. This is what we've prepared for. Every simulation, every drill, every sleepless night spent developing our defenses, it all leads to this moment. Humanity stands alone against the Council, but we are far from helpless. Taylor moved to his command station, entering his authorization codes. Begin Defense Protocol Alpha 0. Power up the Aegis grid. Deploy the Phantom drones. And most importantly, he paused, making eye contact with each officer in turn. Remember that we're not just fighting for our lives, we're fighting for humanity's right to exist as a free and independent species. As the command center burst into activity, Taylor returned his attention to the tactical display. The Council's fleet had begun to move, spreading out in a classic encirclement pattern. They clearly expected minimal resistance, planning to overwhelm Earth's defenses through sheer numbers and firepower. What they didn't know, what the Council had failed to discover despite centuries of observation, was that humanity had learned from every encounter, every threat, every dismissive interaction with alien species. They had built their defenses in secret, developing technologies that the Council believed were centuries beyond human capability. The Aegis grid wasn't just a shield network, it was a quantum-linked web of energy manipulation devices capable of redirecting and absorbing almost any form of attack. The Phantom drones weren't simple automated defenders, they were semi-sentient combat platforms equipped with phase shift technology that made them nearly impossible to target. And those were just the defenses they had allowed the Council to glimpse. Commander Bishop approached again, holding a secure tablet. Sir, all systems are reporting ready. The Aegis grid is at full power, Phantom squadrons are in position, and the Prometheus protocol is standing by. Taylor nodded, his eyes fixed on the approaching fleet. Humanity has warned them, Sarah. We've tried diplomacy, negotiation, even submission to some of their demands. But they've pushed us too far. He straightened his uniform. It's time to show the Council exactly why they should have heeded Earth's final warning. The hour Varric had given them was nearly up, but Taylor had no intention of waiting for the deadline. He opened a channel to all Earth Defense Forces. All units, this is General Taylor. The Council believes they know everything about us. They think they're prepared for whatever resistance we can offer. Today, we prove them wrong. Today, we show the galaxy that humanity will not bow, will not break, and will not surrender. He paused, watching as the first wave of Council ships moved into attack position. Initiate Defense Protocol Alpha 0. Let's give them a demonstration they'll never forget. The battle for Earth was about to begin, and the galaxy was about to learn why they should have taken humanity's warning seriously. First Contact Protocol. The massive Council fleet moved with practiced precision, their formation spreading out like a deadly metallic web across Earth's outer orbit. From the command center, General Taylor watched as thousands of alien vessels took up attack positions, their weapon systems charging with enough firepower to glass a dozen planets. Commander Bishop's hands flew across her tactical display, monitoring the enemy fleet's movements. They're deploying in a Thraxian assault pattern, sir. 3 layers of capital ships, supported by fighter screens and heavy cruisers. Predictable, Taylor muttered. They're still following standard council military doctrine. Varric hasn't learned anything new in the last century. He turned to his weapons officer. Lieutenant Chen, status of the Phantom squadrons? All units in position, sir, Chen reported crisply. Phase generators at optimal capacity. They're completely invisible to council sensors. The command center's main screen flickered to life once again, revealing Varric's imposing figure. The alien warlord's scales had darkened to an almost black shade, a sign of aggressive intent in his species. Your time has expired, General Taylor, Varric announced, his translated voice dripping with satisfaction. I see you've chosen extinction over submission. How typically human. Taylor allowed himself a small smile. Actually, Varric, we've chosen option 3, victory. Before the alien warlord could respond, Taylor nodded to Commander Bishop. Execute first contact protocol. Across Earth's orbit, hundreds of quantum beacons activated simultaneously. These devices, hidden within seemingly innocent communications satellites, began emitting precisely calibrated energy waves that interfered with the Council fleet's shield harmonics. It was technology that shouldn't have existed, couldn't have existed, according to the Council's understanding of human capabilities. Varric's flagship, the Relentless, suddenly lurched as its shields fluctuated. What is this? The warlord snarled, his composure cracking for the first time. Some kind of primitive jamming attempt? Not jamming, Taylor replied calmly. Think of it as an introduction. Humanity has been keeping secrets, Varric. It's time you met them. At Taylor's signal, the first wave of phantom drones decloaked. They appeared like ghosts in space, their nanofabricated hulls seeming to bend light around them. Each drone was barely larger than a human fighter but packed with technology that the Council had deemed impossible for humanity to achieve. Impossible, Varric breathed, his 4 eyes widening as his sensors finally detected the drones. These readings, they can't be correct. Oh, they're correct, Taylor assured him. You see, while the Council was watching us, measuring us against their standards, we were watching you. Learning. Adapting. Those primitive defense satellites you mocked. They're not just shields, they're part of the most advanced neural network ever created. As if to demonstrate his point, the Aegis grid suddenly pulsed with visible energy. The seemingly separate shield generators linked together, forming a complex geometric pattern of pure energy that encompassed the entire planet. You're right about one thing, Varric, Taylor continued. This isn't a negotiation. But it's not an invasion either. It's a lesson, one that the Council should have learned long ago: never underestimate humanity. Varric's response was predictable. Open fire, he roared, and the Council fleet erupted with energy weapons, mass drivers, and plasma torpedoes. The barrage was impressive, enough firepower to crack a planet's crust. But the Aegis grid didn't just block the attacks, it absorbed them, each impact strengthening the shield rather than weakening it. This was humanity's greatest breakthrough, the ability to convert enemy weapons fire into usable energy. Phantom squadrons, Taylor ordered, begin Phase 1 engagement. The drones moved with impossible grace, their phase shift drives allowing them to literally pass through enemy fire. They approached the Council's frontline ships, deploying their primary weapons, quantum disruptors that could temporarily nullify the laws of physics within a localized field. The effect was devastating. Council ships found their shields simply ceasing to exist, their weapon systems becoming mathematically impossible within the disruption fields. Some vessels began to drift, their artificial gravity and propulsion systems failing as fundamental forces became unreliable. What is this technology? Varric demanded, genuine fear creeping into his voice. This isn't possible. Humans can't have this level of advancement. That was your first mistake, Taylor replied. You assumed we couldn't advance beyond your expectations. Your second mistake was thinking we would develop technology along the same lines as the Council. We didn't. We took a completely different path. To demonstrate his point, Taylor activated the next phase of Earth's defense. The Prometheus protocol came online, and suddenly the space around Earth seemed to ripple like water. The quantum fabric of reality itself responded to human commands, creating localized pockets where Council weapons simply couldn't function. You see, Varric, while you were perfecting bigger guns and stronger shields, we were learning to manipulate the fundamental forces of the universe. Your weapons are impressive, but they're still bound by the laws of physics. We learned to change those laws. The battle was quickly becoming one-sided. Council ships found themselves unable to maintain formation as space itself seemed to work against them. Their energy weapons dispersed harmlessly into quantum sync fields, while their physical projectiles encountered zones where kinetic energy simply didn't transfer. Commander Bishop's voice was tight with controlled excitement. "Sir, enemy fleet showing signs of disarray. Their command and control systems are breaking down. The quantum disruption is affecting their communication networks." Taylor nodded. "Deploy the Nexus swarms." From Earth's dark side, thousands of tiny objects emerged. Each one was smaller than a human hand, but together they formed a massive cloud of intelligent machines. These were the true purpose of the Aegis grid, not just a shield, but a control network for the most advanced drone swarm ever created. The Nexus swarms moved like schools of fish through space, overwhelming Council ships with sheer numbers. They didn't attack with conventional weapons. Instead, they interfaced directly with enemy systems, rewriting code and reprogramming hardware in real time. Varric watched in horror as ship after ship in his fleet went dark, their systems completely overwhelmed by technology they couldn't even detect, let alone defend against. "This is impossible," he repeated, but this time there was no anger in his voice, only fear. "No, Varric," Taylor corrected him. "This is humanity. We warned you. We tried to avoid this. But you and the Council were so convinced of your superiority that you couldn't see what was right in front of you." The battle continued for another hour, but the outcome was never in doubt. Council ships either retreated in disarray or found themselves completely disabled by human technology they couldn't understand. The mighty invasion fleet, which had arrived expecting an easy victory, was being systematically dismantled by defenses that shouldn't have existed. Throughout it all, General Taylor stood calmly in the command center, watching as humanity's true capabilities were finally revealed to the galaxy. This wasn't just a victory, it was a declaration. Earth would no longer pretend to be less than it was. As the last active Council ships began to retreat, Taylor opened a final communication channel to Varric's flagship, which now floated powerless in space, surrounded by phantom drones. "Consider this a counterproposal to the Council's demands," Taylor said. "Earth is not yours to take. We are not yours to command. And the next time you think about dismissing humanity's warnings, remember this day." The battle was over, but Taylor knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy would soon learn that humanity had been holding back, playing the part of a primitive species while developing technologies that would reshape the balance of power. The Council had ignored humanity's final warning. Now they would face the consequences of that mistake. Shattered illusions. The emergency session of the Galactic Council erupted into chaos as the battle footage from Earth played on the massive holographic displays. The Grand Chamber, normally a place of measured debate and calculated political maneuvering, now resonated with the shocked voices of representatives from 100 worlds. High Counselor Zarvax, her crystalline form shimming with agitation, raised all four of her arms for silence. "Order. We will have order in this chamber." Her voice, amplified by quantum acoustics, finally brought the chaos under control. In the center of the chamber, Varric stood in chains, a defeated warlord facing judgment. His once proud scales had dulled to an ashen gray, and his four eyes were fixed on the floor. The footage playing above showed his mighty fleet being systematically dismantled by technology that, by all council understanding, shouldn't exist. "Explain yourself, warlord," Zarvax demanded. "How did the humans defeat our most powerful fleet with technology we didn't know they possessed?" Before Varric could respond, a new voice cut through the chamber. "Perhaps you should be asking how you failed to notice our advancement in the first place." All eyes turned to the chamber entrance where General Taylor stood, his dress uniform pristine, his presence commanding attention despite being the only human in a room full of alien dignitaries. He hadn't been invited to this session. His appearance was as shocking as it was impossible, given the council chamber's location in the heart of protected space. "This is an outrage," bellowed Crothul, the Warmaster of the Drachnid Empire. "How dare a primitive species infiltrate our sacred chambers?" Taylor smiled, the expression lacking any warmth. "Primitive? I thought our recent demonstration would have dispelled that particular misconception." He walked to the center of the chamber, each step echoing in the sudden silence. "But since you're curious, I'm not actually here." To prove his point, Taylor's form flickered slightly. "This is a quantum hologram, projected through a network of entangled particles we secretly installed throughout Council space years ago. Just one of many technologies we developed while you were all too busy underestimating us." High Counselor Zarvax's crystalline form pulsed with concerned energy patterns. "Why reveal this now? Why not show your true capabilities sooner?" "Because," Taylor replied, "we needed to understand our potential adversaries first. Every dismissive comment, every diplomatic slight, every assumption of human weakness, it all helped us prepare for this moment." The holographic displays shifted, showing new images, massive shipyards hidden in Earth's asteroid belt, research facilities buried beneath the lunar surface, and orbital factories that had been invisible to Council sensors for decades. While you watched our public space program stumble through primitive rocket technology, we were reverse engineering quantum mechanics. While you laughed at our crude attempts at faster-than-light travel, we were mastering the art of folding space itself. Taylor began walking around the chamber, passing through solid objects occasionally to remind everyone of his holographic nature. "The battle you just witnessed? That was us being gentle. We could have destroyed Varric's entire fleet in seconds, but we chose to demonstrate our capabilities in a way that couldn't be ignored." "Are you threatening the Council?" Crothul demanded, his warrior's pride overwhelming his common sense. "No," Taylor replied firmly. "I'm correcting a dangerous misconception. Earth doesn't want war, we never did. What we want is recognition. Respect. And most importantly, we want the Council to understand that the era of treating humanity as a primitive species to be exploited is over." He gestured, and new holograms appeared, showing the quantum defense networks now protecting Earth. "We've shared this technology with every human colony in the sector. Any attempt to strike at our people will be met with the same response Varric received, or worse." The Council chamber erupted in worried murmurs. Humanity had not only revealed advanced technology but had already deployed it throughout their territory. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted dramatically in a single day. High Counselor Zarvax raised her arms again, restoring order. "What are your demands, General Taylor?" "Demands? No, Counselor. We're here to negotiate, as equals." Taylor's hologram produced a data crystal that floated in the air. "This contains our proposal for a new relationship between Earth and the Council. You'll find our terms reasonable, provided you accept one fundamental truth: humanity will never again be subjected to the threat of extinction." The data crystal dissolved into streams of light that flowed into the Council's central database. As the terms appeared on various screens throughout the chamber, gasps and exclamations filled the air. Earth wasn't just demanding recognition, they were offering to share some of their technological advances, under strictly controlled conditions. "You're proposing an alliance?" Zarvax asked, her crystalline form shifting to a frequency that indicated surprise. "We're proposing a future," Taylor corrected. One where humanity's innovation and the Council's experience can benefit everyone. But first, you need to accept that we're no longer the primitive species you can bully or dismiss. He turned to Varric, who had remained silent throughout the exchange. Your fleet commander learned that lesson the hard way. The question is, will the Council be wiser? The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had not only defeated one of the most powerful fleets in the galaxy but had also infiltrated the heart of Council space with technology that bypassed their most advanced security measures. You've had spies in this chamber, Crotho realized, his voice a mix of anger and grudging respect. For how long? Spies? No. Taylor's hologram smiled again. We've had quantum observation nodes gathering data throughout Council space for decades. Every session, every private meeting, every secret discussion, we know it all. Not because we wanted to spy, but because we needed to protect ourselves from exactly the kind of aggression Varric demonstrated. High Counselor Zarvax's crystalline form shifted through various frequencies as she processed this information. The Council will need time to consider your proposal. Of course, Taylor agreed. But remember, the technology you've seen is just the beginning. Earth has more surprises, more advancements that we've kept hidden. We hope they'll never be needed, but that depends entirely on the Council's next moves. As if to emphasize his point, Taylor's hologram began to fade. We'll await your response. And Council members? The next time you're tempted to dismiss a species as primitive or weak, remember this: appearance and reality are often very different things. With that, the hologram vanished, leaving the Council chamber in stunned silence. The galaxy's power structure had been upended, and the supposed primitives from Earth had orchestrated it all. High Counselor Zarvax turned to her fellow Council members, her crystalline form pulsing with urgent patterns. We must convene an emergency session to discuss this development. It seems we have gravely underestimated the humans, and that mistake has cost us dearly. As the Council members began their heated discussions, the data crystal's contents were being analyzed by their best scientists. What they found would shake their understanding of the universe even further. Humanity hadn't just mastered quantum mechanics, they had rewritten the rules of physics themselves. The age of underestimating Earth was over. The question now was, what would the Council do with this new reality? Power shift. Deep within the Relentless, now transformed into a temporary detention center for Council officials, Commander Sarah Bishop walked through corridors that had once echoed with alien contempt for humanity. The ship's quantum-locked systems had been completely reprogrammed by Earth's technology, its once mighty weapons now dormant under human control. She found General Taylor in what had been Varric's private command chamber, studying holographic displays of diplomatic communications from across the galaxy. The room's alien architecture contrasted sharply with the clean lines of Earth's quantum interfaces that now controlled every system. The Andromeda Concordat has formally requested an alliance, Bishop reported, her tablet displaying a flood of incoming diplomatic messages. They're offering unrestricted access to their antimatter production facilities in exchange for our quantum shield technology. Taylor nodded, his attention fixed on a particular message. And the Orion Defense League? They're nervous, Bishop replied carefully. Their entire strategic doctrine was based on having superior technology to Earth. Now that we've revealed our true capabilities, they're scrambling to reassess their position. Good, Taylor said, finally looking up. Fear and respect are powerful motivators for peace. How are our friends in the Council handling the situation? Bishop brought up a new hologram, showing the Council chamber in real time through their quantum observation network. The scene was one of barely controlled chaos. Various factions had formed, each with their own agenda regarding how to handle the sudden shift in power. The Progressive faction, led by High Counselor Zarvax, is pushing for immediate acceptance of our terms, Bishop explained. They're arguing that cooperation with Earth is the only logical path forward. But the traditionalists, under War Master Crotho, are resisting. They're calling for a military buildup to counter our technological advantage. Taylor allowed himself a grim smile. They still don't understand. This isn't about military advantage anymore. We're rewriting the rules of engagement entirely. As if to emphasize his point, a new alert appeared on their screens. The Nexus swarms had detected and neutralized 3 separate attempts by Council hardliners to smuggle quantum scanning devices into Earth's territory. The tiny machines had not only stopped the incursions but had reprogrammed the scanning devices to send back false data. "Sir," Bishop said, her voice lowering, "there's something else. Our deep space monitors have detected unusual activity in the Carina sector. It seems some council members are reaching out to the Forgotten Ones." Taylor's expression darkened. The Forgotten Ones were an ancient species that had withdrawn from galactic politics millennia ago, their technology so advanced it was considered mythical by most races. If the council was desperate enough to contact them. "Show me," he ordered. A new hologram appeared, showing encrypted quantum transmissions being broadcast toward the galactic core. Earth's computers were already decoding them, revealing desperate pleas for intervention against humanity's dangerous advancement. "They're scared enough to wake up the galaxy's bogeyman," Taylor mused. That could complicate things. Bishop tensed. "Should we prepare for possible intervention from the Forgotten Ones?" "No need," Taylor replied, bringing up a new display. "Watch this." The hologram showed a response transmission from the Carina sector. As it was decoded, both officers stared in amazement. The message was brief but clear: "We have been watching. Humanity's path is their own. Do not interfere." "I don't understand," Bishop said. "The Forgotten Ones are defending us?" Taylor's smile widened. "Not defending, acknowledging. They've been watching our development all along, just as we suspected. Remember those strange quantum anomalies we detected during our early experiments? That was them, studying our progress." A new alert drew their attention. In the council chamber, War Master Crothall was making his move. The massive Drachnid had gathered his supporters and was calling for an immediate vote to declare Earth a threat to galactic stability. "Poor timing," Taylor commented, sending a brief command through his neural interface. Throughout council space, quantum observation nodes activated new protocols. Suddenly, every piece of council technology, from personal communicators to starship engines, displayed the same message: cooperation or isolation. Choose wisely. The effect was immediate. Council members watched in horror as their technology responded to Earth's commands, demonstrating just how completely humanity had infiltrated their systems. The vote was forgotten as panic spread through the chamber. "Perhaps we should give them something more constructive to consider," Bishop suggested. Taylor nodded and activated a direct link to the council chamber. His hologram appeared once again, but this time he wasn't alone. Behind him stood holographic representations of Earth's greatest achievements: quantum cities, space-folding ships, and technology that blended seamlessly with the fabric of reality itself. "Honorable Council members," he began, his voice carrying clearly through the chaos. "You're afraid. I understand that. For centuries, you've built your society on the assumption of technological superiority. Now that assumption has been challenged, and you're struggling to adapt." He gestured, and the hologram shifted to show Earth's solar system, now protected by defenses that could repel any known form of attack. "But consider this: we could have revealed our capabilities at any time. We could have demanded concessions, threatened your worlds, or simply taken what we wanted. Instead, we waited, hoping for peaceful recognition." The chamber fell silent as Taylor continued. "Even now, after your attempted invasion, we're not seeking revenge. We're offering partnership. Your experience combined with our innovation could usher in a new golden age for all species." High Counselor Zarvax stepped forward, her crystalline form resonating with cautious hope. "And if we refuse? Then Earth and its colonies will continue to advance alone," Taylor replied simply. "We'll defend our territories, protect our interests, and develop new technologies that will make today's revelations seem primitive in comparison. The choice is yours, but choose carefully. The galaxy is changing, with or without the Council's approval. As his hologram faded, Taylor turned to Commander Bishop. Prepare for Phase 4. It's time to show them exactly what partnership with Earth could mean. Bishop nodded, already sending commands through their quantum network. Across Earth's sphere of influence, new technologies were about to be revealed, technologies that would either forge a new era of cooperation or cement humanity's position as the galaxy's most advanced civilization. The power shift was complete. Now it was up to the Council to decide how to respond to this new reality. A new dawn. 1 year after humanity's dramatic revelation of their true capabilities, the grand ceremony hall of the newly constructed Terran embassy on Centaurus Prime hummed with anticipation. The massive structure, built using a combination of quantum architecture and traditional Council designs, stood as a physical symbol of the changes sweeping through the galaxy. General Josh Taylor stood at the chamber's center, his dress uniform adorned with both Earth's insignia and the new symbol of the reformed Galactic Alliance. Beside him, Commander Sarah Bishop watched as representatives from over 300 species filed into the hall, their diverse forms illuminated by the soft glow of quantum light fixtures that seemed to bend reality itself. Quite a difference from last year's Council session, Bishop remarked quietly, remembering the chaos that had followed humanity's demonstration of power. Taylor nodded, his eyes scanning the crowd. Fear brings change. Wisdom makes that change lasting. The past year had been transformative for galactic society. After the initial shock of Earth's revelations, the Council had splintered into 3 distinct groups: those who embraced the new reality and sought partnership with humanity, those who retreated into isolation, and those who had tried, futilely, to resist the changing balance of power. High Counselor Zarvax approached the human leaders, her crystalline form now incorporating elements of Earth's quantum technology, a visible sign of the cooperation between their species. The final signatures are ready, General Taylor. Though I must admit, some still question the wisdom of sharing such advanced technology so freely. Not freely, Taylor corrected her. We're sharing it with those who have proven themselves willing to cooperate, to grow beyond the old prejudices and power structures. The galaxy is entering a new age, one of true collaboration rather than domination. The ceremony hall's central platform activated, rising slowly as quantum holograms sprang to life around it. The images showed the achievements of the past year, joint human-alien research projects that had produced revolutionary advances in medicine, transportation, and environmental restoration. Worlds that had been dying were now blooming with new life, thanks to the combination of Council experience and human innovation. Representatives of the reformed Galactic Alliance, Taylor began, his voice carrying clearly through the vast chamber. 1 year ago, humanity demonstrated that we were more than the primitive species many assumed us to be. Today, we demonstrate something far more important, that advancement doesn't have to come at the cost of cooperation. He gestured, and new holograms appeared, showing the transformed solar systems under the Alliance's protection. The once militant border zones had become thriving trade routes, defended by joint fleets using technology that married the best of all member species' capabilities. The old Council believed that power came from superiority, Taylor continued. They were wrong. True power comes from unity, from combining our strengths and overcoming our individual weaknesses. Earth didn't reveal its capabilities to dominate, but to catalyze change. In the audience, former War Master Crothall shifted uncomfortably. After his failed attempt to rally military opposition to Earth, he had witnessed firsthand the futility of fighting against humanity's quantum technology. Now, he served as the Alliance's head of defensive strategy, his warriors' experience tempered by new understanding. The Treaty of Unity we signed today, Taylor said, is more than a political document. It's a commitment to a future where no species needs to hide their capabilities out of fear, where advancement is measured not by destructive potential but by collaborative achievement. Commander Bishop stepped forward, activating the quantum-sealed document that would formalize the new galactic order. As she did, a sudden commotion at the chamber's entrance drew everyone's attention. A delegation of forgotten ones had appeared, the first public appearance of their species in thousands of years. Their forms seemed to shift between states of matter, a visual representation of technology so advanced it defied conventional physics. The lead figure glided forward, its voice resonating directly in the minds of all present. "We have watched and waited, testing each species that reached for the stars. Humanity is the first to achieve advancement while retaining the wisdom to use it justly. We come now not to judge, but to join." A murmur of astonishment rippled through the chamber. The Forgotten Ones, long considered the galaxy's most advanced species, were offering to join the alliance as equals. Taylor smiled, extending his hand in the universal gesture of welcome. "Every voice adds to the harmony," he said, quoting an old Earth proverb. "Every perspective enriches the whole." The signing ceremony that followed was more than a political formality, it was a transformation of galactic society. Species that had once dominated others now worked alongside their former subjects. Races that had hidden their achievements out of fear now shared them openly. The age of isolation and suspicion was ending. As the final signatures were recorded in quantum-encrypted data streams, Taylor turned to Commander Bishop. "Remember when Varric thought he was coming to conquer a primitive world?" Bishop smiled. He never understood what made humanity truly powerful. It wasn't our technology, it was our ability to learn, to adapt, and most importantly, to envision a better future. And to fight for it, Taylor added, watching as the new alliance members mingled, sharing ideas and aspirations. "Sometimes the greatest victories come not from winning battles, but from making them unnecessary." The ceremony concluded with a demonstration of unified achievement, a massive quantum portal opening in space, leading to the first jointly developed instantaneous transport system. It was technology that no single species could have created alone, but together, they had made the impossible routine. As the gathered representatives marveled at the achievement, Taylor reflected on the journey that had brought them here. The Council had ignored humanity's warning, but in doing so, they had inadvertently helped create something far greater than their old power structure. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humanity had proved that true strength lies not in domination, but in the wisdom to use power responsibly. The new dawn they had fought for wasn't just for Earth, it was for all species who dared to dream of a better future. And as the quantum lights of the ceremony hall dimmed, reflecting the countless stars visible through its transparent dome, the gathered species looked toward that future with hope rather than fear. The warning had been ignored, but from that mistake had grown the greatest peace the galaxy had ever known. The end was just the beginning.